Alright guys, I went ahead and logged onto my main account. The reason I'm doing this is because otherwise I'd have to build a new ship for each system in the game, and that would take a lot of time and delay the videos. Before we get started on the missions, I want to go over the zones of the game. There are 4 zones: the planet surface, orbit, the star map, and the hangar. If you press the spacebar, you'll open the unique zone panel of each zone. In orbit, we have our mission bulletin. Completed missions will show up green here. Uncompleted missions will show up white. Tutorial missions you won't see too many of. They're just to get you used to how to fly and show you a few important things to know along the way. White missions you will be seeing a ton of. The goal of these is basically to help you get new blueprints and open up the map a little bit if you don't have help doing this yourself. Then you have your story missions. Story missions are your main progression through the game. You have to complete all the story missions before you can move on to the next system and get more powerful technology. Next up, we've got the Squadrons tab. Here you can create or join squadrons. Squadrons can have up to 5 people and are really useful for doing missions or doing things that require a lot of firepower, like taking down particularly difficult mantis. To create a squadron, all you have to do, click Create Squadron. You can set it to either public or private. Public, anyone in orbit with you can see the squadron. And private, only people on your buddy list can see the squadron. You can rename your squadron here and create squadron. And here we can see the squadron appears on this list. Now anyone above level 5 in orbit with us can see the squad and join it if they want to. To leave a squadron, all you have to do is click your squadron button up here and hit Leave Squadron. If the squad leader leaves the squadron, the entire squadron is shut down and everyone gets kicked out of it. Targets is pretty useless in orbit. We're going to go over that more on the planet surface. Clans is also pretty useless in general, but anyone in a clan in orbit, their clan will show up here, and you'll be able to see the name of their clan, the commander of their clan, and the number of members they have in their clan. Bounty is also pretty important. It's available in orbit and on the planet surface. And what bounty is a score that is for PvP uses. It really doesn't mean much, it really doesn't do much, except that when you have any amount of bounty, you get a 5% experience bonus. You unlock the PvP mode at level 10, and it's completely optional. If I were to click OK here, PvP mode would be activated for me, and I would be able to fight with other players who are in PvP mode. As you can see, no one actually has a bounty score. They may or may not have their PvP mode activated. People with a bounty score definitely do have their PvP mode activated. So this is a good way if you go red for experience. This is a good way to keep tabs on the other people in the system, just to make sure that they're not going to be hunting you. You can see their location here, and if you click here, you open their pilot profile, which we'll also go over in a later video. That's about it for the zone panel in orbit. So, without further ado, it's time for us to select our next mission, which is Scouting Scouts. Like I said in the last video, you can either click here to read on this little window, or you can press Control to open the mission panel and read it on a lot bigger screen. Right-click on either the Control or the zone panels. will close the panel, so it's a lot more convenient than having to hit control or space all the time. So let's land and begin the mission. One of the things I do recommend doing before you do this mission is the story mission Steel Mantis Technology. It's basically the same as this story mission, so you get practice, and you can also unlock this item called the Afterburner, which makes your ship go really fast for a short period of time. It makes traveling around the map much easier. So we're just going to travel to the marked area. Real quick, I want to go over some of the unique features of the zone panel on the planet. You'll see we have a map on this. As you saw when I opened the map on the newer account, none of this area down here was unlocked. The first time you get to a planet, you'll need to explore it and open it up a little bit so that you know where you're going. The targets list, which I said we were going to go over down here, shows anything in visible range of your ship. And if you click on it, you can follow that and go straight to it. It's really nice, especially with items, because sometimes big bosses and stuff like to sit on your items. And you also have access to the bounty list down here. So this one's pretty simple. Just destroy Mantis scouts until the mission completes. You need to kill 8 of them, I believe. One of the hardest parts about this, though, is that when you don't kill them in one shot, they run away. So I'm going to shoot at one until I miss, hopefully. There. And from this point, they can be a bit hard to keep up with. So you want to make sure when you do this to run them into walls so that they can't run very far before they have to change direction. Like right there where that one was facing is pretty good. Alright, let's go ahead and go to orbit and accept the next mission. Alright, and that's mission complete. Let's go ahead and jump right into our next mission. This one's pretty simple too. The point of this mission is to introduce 2 new characters. One is a new Mantis unit called the Sentinel. Fairly easy to defeat, but still the strongest thing we've come up against so far. The other is this guy, Jake Rattenberry. He is the commander of all the pirates in the Vega system, so he's a pretty important guy. Let's go ahead and accept the mission. And he wants us to fly down to the surface. It's generally a good idea to wait in orbit until they tell you where to go, because a lot of times they troll you and they want you to go to another planet instead. So we're going to go ahead and go over here and meet Bill at the marked location. One of the most useful features of Bill Darius is that he'll normally drag you wherever you need to go when he's involved in a mission. So I'm just going to select him and let him take us to the mission area. While we're doing that, I'm going to go over a couple of the simpler features, if we have time, of the heads-up display. Here you have your items. The items vary by ship. The items that are generic across all the ships, you have your blaster, collector, repair droid, and afterburner. These are normally beyond items 1 through 4. Any ship that has rockets as an item, though, will push these back to 4 and 5. Here you have your current energy, the current amount of cryonite you have, and the current amount of gold you have. Here's your experience bar and your current level. The experience bar is divided up into 8 different bars. And these are Sentinels. So you can see that the first thing that my ship doesn't one-shot on this planet and Bill helps out on this mission. These are the last of the docile mantis. All the mantis we've come up against so far won't shoot at you until you shoot at them. This is true for Sentinels, drones, and scouts. However, it changes on the next planet. So we're going to go ahead and fly to orbit. Just to finish up going over the bottom of our heads-up display here, on the planet's surface this will display a mini-map, which is always pointed north up here as opposed to right in front of you, so it takes some getting used to as far as that goes. Here's your target specifications. The target's health bar will appear right here. The target's current craft will appear here in the name. Below it, if you open up here, you'll have your drone panel, which shows if you own any drones, you can install them on your ship and manage them here. These 2 drone slots will be locked by default, and you have to pay cryonite to open them. So you can have up to 3 drones installed on your ship at any given time. They can be any different type of drone, they can be 3 of the same type of drone, but you can only have 1 active at a time. Drones use energy based on your ECAP. They use approximately 1/4 of your ECAP per hour and are active for up to 3 hours on a single charge. Next you have your graviton panel over here. You can't drop any gravitons in the Vega system, so we'll save those until we get to the Antares system and start dropping them. Now by this point you'll have unlocked a new mission, buy a new spaceship. So I'm going to take you through the steps of buying and building a new spaceship real quick, because you're really going to want a better ship for the rest of Calabash. And besides, that little ship is lame. So what the droid's going to tell you to do is open your zone panel and go to the Ships tab up here. It's going to tell you to go to Buy New Ships, and that's going to open the shop window. Now all these ships won't be available to you right now. All you'll be able to see is the Phoenix, which you've already got, this, which you can buy for 15 cryonite, and the 2 rare ships, which will be locked unless you've completed the blueprints for them. For now, I'm going to buy this ship. One thing the droid doesn't tell you, though, is how to equip it. First thing you need to do is switch to your new ship and go to your Items tab. You can switch ships just by clicking on your ship in the window. If you click on one of your items, it'll open another shop window, which will have your different items available to you. So here, this ship has already got substandard tech installed on it, except for the afterburner. Since we unlocked the afterburner in that mission Steel Mantis Technology, we're going to go ahead and put that on there, and the substandard tech will serve us just fine throughout the rest of Calabash. And the new ship is complete, so we're free to go to orbit and select a new mission. I'm going to change back to the Frost Warrior though. So I'm going to go back to orbit. I think that about covers it for this video. I don't want to make it too long. In the next video, we'll go over the hangar a little bit more in depth. We'll do some more story missions and maybe even go to a new planet. So be sure to like and subscribe, leave your suggestions in the comments, and I will see you guys next time.